Hey, Derek Snow here, the voice of Real Bois Mortier and Black Clover. That's right, the captain of the Aqua Deer Squad. Where is Charmy? Oh well. Welcome to Anime Egotists. I think it's time for a little bit of picture magic. What do you say? Have fun, guys.
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where I don't think either one of us would bully people for lunch money. That's just, what is this, the 50s?
No, maybe tax money.
Yeah, I'm actually on board with that. Anyways, my name's Alex, and if my pets started talking to me, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing to happen this year.
I can agree to that. And I'm Richard.
That's right. And in anime, there are these weird things. They're like close with each other. They have the same parents. They're brother and sisters or siblings.
Yeah, so we decided that we would talk about our favorite sibling relationships in anime.
Yeah, they don't have to be related by blood. They don't always have to get along. But a good pair or multitude of siblings can be really engaging for an anime, especially since we're the perfect people to talk about this because neither one of us have siblings, as far as I know.
Yeah, nope. I never had a sibling.
Yeah. But let us know about some of your favorite siblings in anime, blood-related or otherwise. Would you like to start us off?
Sure, I can. So my first one, I put Isami and Takumi Aldini from Food Wars on my list.
Okay.
So these are a pair of fraternal brothers that both go to the school. Takumi is kind of the more, how to put it, he's always viewed as the bigger brother. He's a couple minutes older. He does everything slightly better than his younger brother. But the thing is that they truly care for each other. Takumi, you see, go out of his way to help support his brother. You see his brother really, even though they're twins, look up to him and strive to try to reach that same level as his brother. And it's just a nice relationship overall. Because at one point, if I remember correctly, Isami it gets kind of down, thinking that he doesn't deserve to be here. He thinks back to their past where they worked in their family's restaurant in Italy, and he's almost on the verge of giving up, and Takumi's the one who does something to convince him to stay or continue fighting for his place at the school.
From all I've heard, Takumi seems like a good guy.
Yeah, he's the rival that kind of goes away, because four arcs, or like a few arcs after he kind of becomes Soma's rival, he ends up getting replaced with two other, I think it's Rin and I forgot what the other guy's name is, but they both are end up being it's these three are the three. He's number 4 in the school, and
sounds like a good majority of Yu-Gi-Oh rivals, to be honest.
Yeah, and I feel so bad because it's like he was the first one. He should be in that mix of competing for that first spot, because they kind of hint that they rotate through being the top student at the school. It's like one week Soma's number 1, the next week this guy's number 1, then the next week Soma's back, and then the next week it's the other guy. It just keeps going back and forth between those three, and then he kind of sits at number 4 the entire time.
But yeah, I can go. So I don't know a whole lot about. I didn't even know this guy had a brother, but it is nice to see that he's willing to stand up and help him when need be.
Yeah, and well, the reason you probably don't realize that they're twins is that they are fraternal and portrayed as that. He's the big fat guy that they show sometimes, and he's got brown hair versus Takumi's blonde. They don't look anything alike.
Maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, but they're portrayed usually in the middle seasons. They're usually portrayed together a lot.
Yeah, okay. I can understand that. I can go side. Maybe someday I'll give Food Wars a chance, provided it doesn't make me hungry, but no promises on that.
Yeah, no. There's some of the dishes I really want to try. There's a meatless pot roast in the list, and that sounds so good.
And meatless does not sound great to me, but who knows?
Well, it's not meatless. It's roastless. It pretty much it's a whole bunch of potatoes wrapped in bacon, and apparently if you cook it right, it's supposed to be able to taste like a really good pot roast.
Sure, okay.
So, and bacon and potatoes sounds good. So,
Yeah, I understand.
all right. So your first siblings.
All right. Gohan and Goten from Dragon Ball Z.
All right. Yeah, I can co-sign.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna be honest, when I first really started at finding an appreciation for Goten before I started rewatching and realizing, Goten and Trunks are not my favorites. I don't know. I always appreciated just how much he looked up to Gohan, and even though Gohan was always doing his studies, it felt like the two were very close. It felt like Gohan did his best to, who I don't know, just look after Goten and show him the ropes. Hopes they work well together. They have some nice moments, and I don't know. Oh, you always get the feeling that everybody wanted Gohan to be a total badass, but even if he had done that, I like how sweet he is with Goten. Their relationship feels really cute to me, especially considering their Kamehameha ends up beating Broly in one of the movies. But I don't. I just think their dynamic in particular doesn't get talked about as much, and the fact that at one point Gohan taught Goten how to fly, and if I had a sibling who taught me how to fly, I'd like him to.
I can, as I said, I can co-sign. I do really enjoy their relationship. I wish it was more, especially in Super. I wish that they had shown at least a little bit more because they really focused on solo Gohan episodes and Gohan or Goten and Trunks episodes in Super. So it would have been nice if they had had something where they were trying to be more focused together.
Yeah, I understand that. But for me, especially, and I guess through the video games do help with this, like a lot of Gohan's missions kind of have Goten involved. It never really feels like too much, especially the plot twist when it's revealed Goten can go Super Saiyan at like the age of seven, heaven, and Gohan's like, wait, how'd you become a Super Saiyan? It's just like, oh, mom, I was training with mom, which is another plot twist that Chi-Chi actually trains them, and my hair turned blonde. She started crying about it. And Gohan kind of has to calm Goten down, like, no, it's okay. I love mom, but she's weird. The relationship, while not as fleshed out as it could be, for the moments we get, it's actually I actually find it really cute.
Yeah, the part I always liked is God, what was it? Yeah, I love that scene though. You were talking about with Goten and Chi-Chi and the training. That is one of my favorite moments for some reason. It's just so funny because she gets so upset that he's actually managed to be a Super Saiyan without really trying.
He's like, you're a Super Saiyan. Goten's like, is that a bad thing?
And then she forbids him from doing it in front of anybody, and he goes, and it's not till his brother discovers it years later.
Yeah, but I don't know. Goten and Trunks, it's not always emphasized, but their bond is really sweet.
Yeah, you really feel that Gohan stepped up to take care of Goten with his father being dead for that, or their father being dead for that long.
Yeah,
All right, so my next one.
go ahead.
So I put Nezuko and Tanjiro Kamado from Demon Slayer.
Okay.
So overall, Tanjiro had a pretty good relationship. It's portrayed in with all of his siblings before most of them died, and Nezuko was transformed into a demon. But he does everything he can to support Nezuko and stop the demon slayers, like specifically the Hashira, from killing her. He swears that he'll save her and turn her back into a human. And he goes out of his way to just get as strong as possible to actually succeed in this mission. Yes, there's a bit of a revenge, I guess, plot, but that's not really Tanjiro's main goal. His is not to get revenge for his family. It's to save Nezuko and turn her back to a human. That's literally his entire goal, instead of, which is kind of a nice change of pace because you usually get that dark arc where one of the protagonist, where a shonen protagonist ends up going really dark and trying to get revenge or something along those lines, and almost becoming what they swear they're gonna destroy, kind of thing.
Yeah. It kind of seems like a reverse of Superman and Injustice, because when Lois Lane ends up dying, Superman kills Joker and then everything kind of falls apart. So it's nice to know it didn't happen in that case.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't have been strong enough at that point because I don't know. I'm guessing I haven't seen the newest arc yet, so I need to eventually sit down and watch that. So many things came out in like the last 2 seasons that I've fallen behind.
Yeah. Yeah, but I can definitely co-sign. From everything I've seen, they do have a really sweet relationship. Even if I keep seeing trolling posts of people who have never seen Demon Slayer, like, oh man, I hope these two end up together. I'm like, wow, I've never seen Demon Slayer, and even I know that's not something you should be tweeting.
No, no, it's not. And I mean, the manga, even though the anime's not done, is so so much information's out there. It's like I know how everything ends, so it's like I don't know. It's obvious, and I don't. If you watch anything, you probably know it, some of what's coming in the final part of Demon Slayer.
Yeah, even if, like you've said, you haven't seen it. So I never thought you'd be a manga reader over an anime reader.
No, I haven't even read it. I just know what happens because it got quickly spoiled for me right when it was finishing up the actual story. So I was like, okay, I already know what's gonna happen.
Just like, well, that ruined it for a little bit. I it's like, hey, you want to watch with us? No, it got spoiled for me.
Yeah, that's kind of what's happened. That's part of why I think I haven't watched much of My Hero's final season yet, or not final season, but current season. It's the same thing. It happened. I know what is happening and what's going to happen, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, but I can co-sign though. It does, like everything I've seen. From the little I've seen. I like Tanjiro enough, and it seems like he and Nezuko do have a sweet relationship. So, yeah, I can co-sign. I want, in all seriousness, I do want to give Demon Slayer a chance, but like with you, it's about timing. Like I said, I'm trying to watch newer stuff, so you guys don't get sick of what we talk about.
yeah, I need to start something new that'll give me more to talk about because I keep talking about the same shows.
Yeah, yeah, it's a work in progress, man. That's all right.
Yeah. All right. So your next set of siblings?
All right. Once again, not related by blood, but they call each other brothers, so it's all right. The Bofurin class from Windbreaker.
Okay.
All right, so they're a group of delinquents, and while they all go to the same school together, they are immediately friendly to the people they meet up with. When Sakura and Nire show up at the school, well, they all corner them, and rather than attacking, they just grab Sakura and they're like, "Hey, you're the guy who helped those old people out when they were getting attacked. It's really cool to meet you, man." And like I've said, Sakura doesn't fully know how to respond to all the positive affirmations he's getting. And they all learn under the head of the school, Umemiya. And he's not all what you expect when you first meet him, because he's the one who said these people are my brothers. Like he'll stare at everybody, including the new kids, and he'll be like, "All right, everybody, I have one question for all of you. There's an extra plot in the garden. Do you guys want something else? Because all I have are tomatoes in here. Maybe I can grow something else. Just let me know. Have you seen my garden? I don't. He's just such a sweet guy. And the fact that he says all of you are my brothers, whether we've known each other for years or we just met yesterday, as long as you're part of this school, you're my brothers. And they'll do stuff like they'll help people across the street. They'll clean up graffiti. They know how to fight when they need to, but they just also have such a positive impact on each other that it really makes the show, because you can tell they all care about each other, whether they always say it or not.
Yeah, it sounds nice. I really do need that. Windbreakers is one I want to give it a shot. I've got so many on that list now.
Yeah.
It's not even funny.
Yeah, I want to do a review of it someday. So I'm honestly kind of considering just rewatching it in English this time and then just figuring it out. But like I said, you especially in the last episode of the season, you can see that they are sticking by each other, and they all have enough quirks and personalities that you can't. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really found one of the members I dislike yet. I might have a least favorite, but it's not because he's bad. It's just like I just like everybody else so much more.
Okay. Yeah, I've never heard anything bad about Windbreakers yet, so I guess I'll give it a shot soon. Probably, maybe that'll be the next thing I actually sit down and watch because it's 13 episodes, right?
That's correct.
So okay, it's reasonable to get done in a short period. All right, but yeah, I do like this idea of a whole group of people considering each other brothers as well.
Yeah. I don't know if I can get into gardening as much, but then again, who knows? I always like gardening with my mom, so who knows? Maybe I could help.
Gardening for me always just meant yard work, ripping up weeds, and not planting anything. So didn't really get anything out of it. I just destroyed the weeds in our yard.
Yeah, they grow a lot of tomatoes, so just be on the lookout for that. But then again, I love tomatoes, so that's okay with me.
Yeah, I like to cook with tomatoes. All right, so my next one,
Go ahead.
I put uh Sanji and Reiji from One Piece.
Sure.
So this is Sanji and his sister. His brothers, no, they do not have a good relationship. But his sister really was the first one who, besides his mom, who actually seemed to care about Sanji. She was the one who kind of hid what he was doing from the rest of the family when he was trying to help go to his mom when his mom was sick. She was the one who helped him escape from his father after his mom died, and he got put in the Iron Mask and left to rot in the dungeons. So there's just, I don't know, a lot of little moments that you get to see. Is she perfect? No, they don't really have the perfect relationship, but I like that she still cares, even though the rest of the family doesn't really, about Sanji.
Yeah. It also, in some cases, might explain his attitude towards women, because his sister was, well, like you said, not perfect, but she was still better to him than most of his family. So maybe he thinks to himself, well, my sister treated me really well, so I'm going to treat every other woman I meet really well. Sometimes it works out for him, and sometimes it really doesn't. But it could also explain that behavior.
Yeah, it really could. And actually, that combined with his mom and just how much his brothers and father kind of abused him when he was a kid could really explain some psychological aspects to Sanji's character.
Good God, good God! You sometimes forget just how sad characters in One Piece can be.
Yeah, I mean, you do feel bad because I think if I remember correctly, there's one scene in a flashback where she's forced to kind of join in with the other brothers in Sanji, and she does it out of kind of fear of how their father will react if she doesn't. Uh, like I think they're just kicking Sanji while he's down or something, and I think she joins in. That is just because she's scared of their father.
And then Sanji gets a kiss from Pudding, but then it gets taken away from him. Good God.
Yeah, but I just really enjoy it, and you feel like she's the one who kind of leads his brothers and father to let him go free at the end of the Whole Cake Island arc.
Yeah, I agree. I did end up really liking her. I don't feel like we see as much of her as like other siblings, but I don't really think we need to either.
Yeah, I think I imagine we're going to see them again. They're still alive. They're probably going to end up being somehow being allied with the Straw Hats in whatever the big final battle is. Just knowing how One Piece and how it seems like they're getting allies even from some enemies in the past. So,
And then she'll end up marrying Zoro, and it'll ruin Sanji's life.
oh my god, if that happens before Sanji can marry someone, that will literally destroy him.
Oh God, you're telling me you would want to see it just to see his reaction?
I could see them put like his brothers like this time it's for your own good, and they're putting him in the Iron Mask again.
It's just like, no, we're sorry for what we did last time. We're doing it this time for your own good. We promise you.
And it's like, oh god, it's when Sal's sister married Mur in
And this is the one time where Sanji's like, oh, well, if it's the wedding, then maybe Zoro won't be. Maybe Zoro's terrible with directions. Maybe he'll get lost. But it's the one time Zoro's actually on time at the right place.
I could see that. I could also see it being like he's walking down the aisle and all of a sudden he's sitting at like the far end of a row.
Oh my God.
It's like, so what are we doing here? Kind of thing.
Oh my God. The worst part is you're not. I I always figured that Sanji was a nice guy and maybe he'd want to be friends with us, but after this conversation, I think he's going to end up hating both of us.
Yeah, but I could see it also being animated exactly like the Impractical Joker's wedding. So it's literally he's standing up there, he's forced into a suit, but he's also tied to some sort of cart thing so to keep him standing up, and he's got the iron mask on so he can't object.
Anybody hear anything? No. All right, all right. We can move on. But yeah, I can co-sign though. They always had an interesting dynamic, even if it wasn't always perfect.
Yeah. But all right, so your next one?
All right, Kolulu and Lori from Zatch Bell.
Yeah, I can co-sign.
In one episode, Kolulu meets Lori, her human partner, and with Lori's parents always working, she doesn't get a lot of time with other people. She's a very lonely person. But when she saves Kolulu, the two become very close. And they're good. They're kind of the opposite side of Kyo and Zatch. They get along. She made Kolulu a doll that supposedly took about a week, while Vulcan 300 took about I don't know 5 minutes for Kyo to make for Zatch. And you just get the feeling they're always thinking about each other, and when they talk about each other, it's super sweet. And when it turns out Kalulu's spells turn her into a destructive person, and you can tell just how sad Lori is by it. And she doesn't understand anything about the Momoto battle. And at the end, when Kalulu asks to be sent back, Lori doesn't try to fight it or scream or yell. She's heartbroken, but she understands what has to be done. And even when we see Lori every now and then, you can tell like Kalulu made her a better person. And she says, "Oh, well, I'm gonna go spend some time with my parents." Like you can tell just on the one episode they had together, they had a really sweet dynamic. And would I have kept it going a little bit longer? Probably, but the impact that the two had on each other and that they're not lonely anymore, just I couldn't leave them off this list because they do consider each other sisters.
Yeah, I think I do agree. I this was, especially for how short it was, really well done. What I probably would have liked it to be kind of the first mini arc where there's word gets around, like some Momoto have been in the area and keep attacking them, but then they use the spell and it just keeps going. Maybe like 3 episodes of that where it's like you hear about like a Momoto destroying other Momotos, and you get one of the villains of the day escape them and is like panicking and hiding, and that's where Kyo and Zatch meet them and stuff. And little hints get dropped that it's like she looks so sweet and innocent and isn't going to be attacked, and then but she just like almost destroyed me right away, kind of thing.
Yeah. Or heck, even an arc where Kalulu learns to control her powers or something along those lines. Because in one of the video games, it is shown that she has an ultimate spell. Well, everybody does in the video game, but like it's shown that she's grown stronger and gained all this stuff. Is it just for the video game? Sure, but for such an important character just being in one episode, it wasn't a horrible idea because the episode was nearly perfect. But I can understand why people are like, yeah, this should have lasted a little longer.
Yeah, for that, I think it just because it gets brought up so much, because Zatch says in multiple episodes, I swore to Kalulu that I would become a good, kind king.
Yeah, yeah. They name drop her. They do name drop her a lot more than I did than I figured at first, because it did get to the point where I'm like, huh, they bring her up almost every episode. What's happening, guys?
And they kind of hint that like all the Momotos knew her somehow. It's like she's the connection to everybody, but that doesn't play any factor. It's just she was nice to everybody.
Yeah, yeah, but that's just what that I still love their dynamic. It's really sweet. Also, there's a YouTube channel out there called the Fruit Lovers Club, and they talk about Zatch Bell 2. I guess that's technically the official name of it. If they talk about the manga, go show them some love, please.
All right. But you have any more for
Nope. Kalula and Lori, they were cool. Let's do lunch sometime.
All right. So my next one. I think, are we on honorable? No, we're not on honorable mentions yet.
One more before honorable mentions.
So I put Lelouch and Nunnally v Britannia from Code Geass.
Okay.
So these are the exiled children of the Emperor and one of his many wives, mistresses. And you feel that they really have a good relationship. They were both kind of viewed as burdens because they were I guess it's low ranking members of the royal family. They were like 11 and 12 or something in line for the throne. It's amazing how many of his siblings he actually kills on the way to the throne. Or yeah, but they just have such a kind of sweet relationship because Lelouch really does most of what he does to try to build a world that Nunnally, who has her disabilities, being in a wheelchair and blind, if I remember correctly, to kind of help her out is kind of his big focus at the start of the series. Does it kind of go out of control at some points? Yes, but he does never really lose that, and even sets up his final death to crown her as Empress of the world, and knows that the world should be in its best hands, in her hands, kind of thing.
Yeah, I do feel bad in a sense though, because like he really did start. Lelouch really did start off seemingly like, oh, I want to fix everything before. Well, we all know how it turned out. So in a sense, you do it is kind of somber.
Yeah, as I said, though, he never really stops supporting his sister. He even like in that endings part where she even feels like he's betrayed the world and become just what he sought to destroy. He's pretty much faking. He's doing it so that he becomes the great evil that has to be destroyed at the end.
Yeah, yeah, and then he comes back.
We don't talk about that.
Some people probably talk about. No, in all honesty, I don't know anybody who talks about the series after that. It's kind of like after Death Note when L dies. No one seems to bring it up.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so light one. Okay, we're done.
So the bad guy wins in the end. Fantastic. But I can co-sign, especially just for how prominent both were in the story and how Lelouch's death did, while sad, did lead to everything working out in the end for her and everyone else. I can understand why they're on your list.
Yeah, as I said, it just from what I remember, it's been so long since I've seen the series, but I do really remember having episodes that are focused when they're at school and having them have a nice relationship, and even his friends at school like her.
Yeah, I can co-sign.
All right. So your next one?
May and Max from Pokemon.
Okay.
I just love how these two really do feel like siblings. Look, May can be airheaded sometimes, and Max can be a know-it-all, and they call each other out for it on a regular basis. But you can never tell that you can never feel like they stop caring about each other. They regularly defend each other when people are mean to the other, and you really get a good sense in one episode when May remembers a flashback of her mom saying, "Look, Max isn't old enough to travel on his own, so can you please take him on your journey and please look after him?" And she's willing to do it with no hesitation. It's not always perfect. They bicker, they argue, they don't always know what the other one's supposed to be doing, but you always get the feeling at the end of the day they're going to be there for each other, even if there are times where I just scratch my head at both of them because I'm like, what are you doing?
I can co-sign. I think their relationship definitely improves as the advanced generation goes on. That the first part, you always feel like Max is just trying to outshine May at every aspect, showing like, oh, he knows Pokemon better than his older sister, who's already supposed to be a trainer, kind of thing.
Yeah, though in Max's defense, there was a time where she thought a Zigzagoon evolved into a human, or vice versa. So, if I had a sister and she said something like that, I wouldn't let her slide on it either.
True, but I think the relationship, as I said, towards the end of Advanced Generation was like there were still some rocky episodes, but I think Max had grown and May's relationship with him had improved.
Yeah, and as sad as it is to see them both go in May to tell Max, hey, if I take you to Johto with me, I'll do nothing but rely on you. It is cool of him. It is cool of Max not to blow up at her and just he's sad about it, but he understands where she's coming from. And then in the end, and then at Journeys, it's revealed they're both traveling together again. So maybe she changed her mind at some point.
Maybe it's a grand festival and Max showed up to support her. We don't. That's the issue, is that May doesn't really get any screen time besides being there. But
yeah, and then her and Serena are watching Ash's battle, and they're frozen in place. That's the weird thing about all those cameos and journeys. Everybody was frozen in place during Ash's Though I remember the contest star Lisi was staring over at them, and I thought to myself, "Is she's like, are they okay? Should I call somebody? This is freaking me out."
Yeah, she probably should have called somebody. They've been frozen like that for since Ash's first battle and didn't stop and didn't move till the end.
Oh goodness, that's terrible. But May and Max, they felt like proper siblings when they bickered, but deep down they loved each other.
Yeah, they and you see it throughout the series because they go out to support each other. And because I seem to remember episodes where Max runs out to do something very dangerous to help May during like Team Rocket episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like the two of them together. So they worked as siblings together, and one without the other just doesn't feel special.
Very true. All right. Now are we ready for honorable mentions?
Let's do it.
All right. So I put Tamari, Kankuro, and Gara from Naruto on my list.
Agreed.
And this is just because of how much their relationship changed between where we first meet them in the tuning exams, where Tamari and Gara, while being older siblings, are absolutely terrified of Gara and don't really seem to actually have any love for him, to the point where they actually do care and are serving as kind of his advisors at when he's becomes the Kazakage and all that. And they do seem to really just care about each other because Kankuro pretty much sacrifices himself to try to get Gara back during the Kazakage rescue mission, which is something you really don't think he would do if he in the first series. So just to know how much Gara has grown and how they're working together and have become so much closer is really nice to see.
Yeah. Especially when you look at the infinite Tsukiyomi dream, where Tamari's dream is that she's a better big sister for Kankuro and Gara, to the point where they're kind of cartoonishly fighting over who Tamari gets to help first. But it's not overbearing, it's actually really sweet. And just it especially helps with their relationship with Naruto, because Kankuro points out, oh yeah, the girls are all crazy over Gara, but don't worry, you were pretty cool about it too. And in one of the games, if you beat Naruto as Kankuro's, you'd think he'd say something cocky and arrogant, but he just very quietly says, "Thank you, Naruto." Oh, like you can tell that they've grown to care about each other. And it's especially sweet when you see Tamari off with Shikamaru and Kankuro's trying to help Gara get a wedding gift for Naruto, and he's trying to tell Gara to do a sweet each, but Gara's so camera shy that he can't handle it and blast him with sand. If that happened in the first two episodes, we would have been terrified for Kankuro. But since they've grown so much, it's actually kind of sweet to see.
Yeah, and just that part of the relationship. Kankuro would never tell Gara what to do at the start of the series. It's something to show that the relationship, that Kankuro can actually say, "Hey, go do this," and not get killed.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I do agree. I feel like individually, like I've said before, Gar is one of my favorite characters, and Tamari and Kankuro are good, just not really my favorites. But all three of them together, I do love them. I think they're great.
Yeah, and I just made them honorable mentions mainly because they do start out in a really dark place. They having been Gara having been turned pretty much into a living weapon by his father. And yeah, just not really a good place for them to start trying to become siblings.
Yeah, but fortunately, everything worked out for them in the end. I really like them.
Yep. All right, your first honorable mention?
All right, since we're talking about tragic families that do grow to be better, Marik, Odion, and Ishizu from Yu-Gi-Oh!
I can co-sign.
Look, it did not start off. Marik getting brainwashed and killing their dad doesn't really help things, and Marik treated Odion pretty poorly when he was a villain. But deep down, after he got brainwashed even further, you could always tell that Marik was reaching out to Ishizu. And after everything they've been through, Ishizu and Odion did everything they could to save Marik. And when it looked like Marik was about to be lost to the shadows, Marik told Odion that he was sorry for everything and that he thanked him. when everything works out in the end, their relationship is a lot better. We don't see that much of them after that, but you can tell that all three of them have done their best to build their bonds together better. And it could have been done better. It could have been, they could have done a little more with it, but I do still like how they've improved.
Yeah, I just thinking back on it with Odion and how he really tries to be that big brother, especially early on when you get those flashbacks, and he feels so bad because being an adoptive brother, he's not able to take on the responsibilities that are kind of forced on Marik at such a young age, and you can see how much he wishes, one, I guess, to be recognized as a true member of the family, but also to help like prevent Marik from having to suffer what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like in some cases, all three of them could have been better, but all three of them kind of own up to that. And I think that's really cool, especially in Duel Links, because every now and then you'll get these quiz events, and Ishizu and Odion kind of admit to themselves, to each other, hey, we've been working and like struggling so long, we haven't really done anything for fun. Let's do this. And it's shown that the two are really good at quizzes, and they have fun, and they have fun doing them together. It's a really cute but small scene, and then you see that Rex Raptor and Joey just can't do it because they're not intellectual duelists.
I do like that they kind of admit that they were doing what they thought was best to help Marik prevent him from falling in the shadows. Odion was kind of, if I let him do a little bit, he won't go all the way dark. And Ishizu was like, if I go completely against him, I'm gonna prevent him from falling in the darkness. And both of those ways completely fail for him, unfortunately, because they weren't, I guess, united to stop him.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, their relationship does improve immensely, and I like to think that that to this day they've become very close.
I can, yeah, I can agree. So, yeah, as I said, I'll co-sign. I think that, especially at the end of the Battle City tournament, I don't really remember them being too much in the final arc. The
Not too much, no.
Yeah, they're still guarding the tube, but that's about all I remember. All right, so my next honorable mention. All right, so I put Tenya and Tensei Iida from My Hero. So
Okay.
this is the one that the guy with the engines in his legs that makes him fast. His older brother is already a pro hero at the start of the series. And you kind of learn right at the kind of where things kind of get a little tragic when Tensei, the older brother, gets injured by the hero killer. He ends up pretty much being forced to retire from being a hero, even though he's only in his like early to mid 20s because he's so badly injured from that. He's kind of the inspiration for Tenya to both go dark, but also for his hero's journey. Because Tenya goes after the hero killer to try to actually kill him, and it kind of becomes one of those: how can you be a hero if you're willing to kill people? Because that's not what heroes do. And that's kind of all of My Heroes, not about killing people to save the many. It's about saving even those that don't want to be saved. And so it's just not, but that again, Tenya turns his life around when he thinks about what Tensei had said about kind of just holding the mantle until Tenya became there, because he really viewed that Tenya would be a better hero in the long run. And I don't know, because we don't get too much with Tensei, but which is why I'm making this an honorable mention.
Yeah, I can co-sign on to that. Hey, it does sound like they both have good effects on each other, and that it does sound like in the sense that they saved each other from darkness in some areas.
Yeah, especially with because Tensei's injuries kind of push Tenya towards the darkness, but it's both Midoriya and Todoroki's reminding Tenya of what Tensei stood for that actually pushes him to go back towards the light.
Yeah, I can co-sign. I feel like at some point you said that you really liked Tenya Iida at some point, and then but you don't like him as much as you used to. Am I still thinking about the same person?
It's possible I said that. It's mostly probably to do with the fact that he in the first 2-3 seasons he was a among the main cast, and he's since fallen into the background a lot. He was the first kind of friend that Midoriya made at the school. He had a different view. He was kind of that quirky, nerdy guy who's all like business. We have to do it exactly right and all that. And that's kind of calmed down. And then but then he kind of gets pushed to the background for Bakugo and Todoroki to take the main stage.
Oh boy, that sounds fun.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as I said, I like their relationship. I wish Tensei was seen. It would be nice if like he was at in the current arcs in like UA and he gets seen by Tenya or cheering him on as the new because Tenya takes up his brother's moniker of Ingenium as his hero's name.
Yeah, I can co-sign on to that. I'm sorry about your lack of screen time, Bastion. I mean, Tenya.
Oh, so we're talking about Bastion. Oh wait, Bastion doesn't have any brothers, as far as we know, or sisters.
The lack of siblings with Yu-Gi-Oh main characters is kind of astonishing, but another point for another day.
All right, but I guess your next honorable mention.
All right, hey, an honorable mention because they're not siblings, but they might as well be, and I don't feel like doing a best cousins in anime video because that's just ridiculous.
Okay,
Noelle and Mimosa from Black Clover.
yeah, they truly treat each other like sisters.
Yeah, I just love how close these two are because with Noelle struggling to get a grip on her powers and her family treating her horribly, Mimosa never even considers doing that. From the very beginning, when we see that they're related, Mimosa is nothing but nice to Noelle, and Noelle always remembers that. They work well together. They're seen as friends, and they have a lot of mutual friends together. I do wish there were a couple more moments that showed them together rather than always fighting. Like maybe they go shopping, or maybe I don't know, just some activities where it's not just about missions. But I don't know. I always found their dynamic to be really sweet, even with them being kind of polar opposites.
Yeah, especially after those first few arcs where they are teamed up so much together. Because you can kind of feel that there's a strain because Mimosa's trying to play her, or Noelle is trying to play herself up as the like true kind of royal, even though she's treated so poorly by her siblings. She's like, I'm better than everybody. And Mimosa really never has that. She doesn't even the pet like Asta and his group, she never treats poorly. So you feel that she's actually the aspect of what a true royal is supposed to be.
Yeah. And I think that's why I like Mimosa so much. And I've said before, Mimosa could get a little more to do story-wise, but at the same time, sometimes when it comes to a character, if they have enough screen time and they're likable, sometimes development's not necessary. Sometimes just sometimes a likable character is better than a developed character. Sometimes just liking somebody is cool enough. And I think Mimosa, with how she treats Noelle, makes her incredibly likable.
Yeah, I can definitely agree to that. The only person I can think of that I've seen that she doesn't like she treats poorly is her brother, and that's for good reason. So
Yeah, and he's not on this list.
and there's a reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just a last little thing. I'm glad that even though they both have crushes on Asta, that doesn't make them hate each other. Every now and then they make it jealous, but it's never overbearing. Like they get jealous for like 2 seconds and then they move on.
Yeah, because they truly care about each other. Now, if Asta declares feelings for one or the other, then there may be an all-out civil war that breaks out.
We're gonna. I'm saving that for another day. We're gonna talk more about just Well, Asa ending up with Noelle would be great. Asa ending up with Mimosa would be great. But I think there's a problem with both of them. And guys, when I say that's another video for another day, I'm not stalling. I promise that I'm keeping these ideas.
All right. So now that we've given a hint of something to come, I guess my next honorable mention.
Yeah.
All right. I did Ichigo, Yuzu, and Karin from Bleach.
Okay.
So there's it's not heavily portrayed, which is kind of why this is an honorable mention. But you do learn, like, Ichigo took, I think it was karate classes as a kid when his sisters were either newborns or like really young kids to be able to protect them. That's kind of where he learns his initial fighting skills and all that he uses as a delinquent kind of kid. But Ichigo does, like, no, is doing everything in his power to protect uh Yuzu and Karin, because I think it's Karin is the one that has the is kind of in the same boat as Ichigo, has powers, is like she could easily become a soul reaper or whatever, I guess a Quincy based on her soul strength, I guess. I can't remember what they call it exactly off of that, but he does everything to protect her and prevent her from having to go out and fight. She kind of hints at wanting to go out and support him, but he's like, this is my job to help protect you. I don't necessarily need you to come to have to develop the same powers and go through the same pain that I've gone through in some cases, because he's had his soul ripped out of his body multiple times. He's had his soul chain eat itself, and he pretty much becomes a hollow for a few seconds and all this stuff. And he doesn't want his sisters to have to go through what he's going through. He wants them to have more of a normal life, even though they have this kind of higher spiritual energy. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ichigo and their mother is gone, correct?
Yeah, that it's one of the hollows that is kind of big in the first and I think third seasons, attacks her and kills her.
Yeah. So it is always as tragic as it is always nice to see that when somebody in the family dies, somebody else steps up to take care of the other. So that did more or less have an effect on them too.
Yeah, as I said, I wish, again, honorable mention because Yuzu and Karin are, while in a lot of the background of episodes, there's very few episodes that have a big focus on their relationship with Ichigo. It's more of they meet up with one of his friends and learn a little bit about what's going on, but don't learn everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe like a short little OVA or something would be cool for them.
Yeah, especially now that the series is kind of at the end. It's like, okay, there's going to be, I know the final episode's going to have a bit of a time skip, and if they go to the very end of the manga, then they'll be upset a little bit of stuff, and it's like, okay, what if they'll have them be like, they now know everything that Ichigo is and what they technically could become, because they're both, I mean, they're blood relatives, so they might be able to become Soul Reaper, Quincy, Hollow, Arankar. I don't know. There's so many things that I guess they could technically be.
Oh, I hear the ending of the Bleach manga didn't upset anybody.
It did, but what anime doesn't, or manga doesn't anymore?
Yeah, well, we'll save that talking point for another day.
That would be a good story. We'll think about that maybe.
Yeah, yeah, and just yeah, I can co-sign though. From the little I saw, it did seem like Ichigo did everything in his power to always want to protect them.
Yeah. All right. So your final honorable mention?
All right, Sai and Shin from Naruto.
Okay.
So honorable mention because we really don't see them together all that often. But Sai and Shin were two. Shin was considered Sai's brother, and they were going to be in the route together. And according to Sai, Shin was very much like Naruto, loud, proactive, but kind-hearted when he really needed to be. And it's funny because in the anime, when they try to get into the route, they both have to kill each other, and Sai ends up killing Shin. And he, according to him, he feels nothing about it because the root, you're supposed to suppress your emotions. But in the manga, Shin's already sick and he dies before any of that happens. And you can tell just the effect it has on Sai, and how as the series progresses, when Sai's trying to connect with more people, he thinks about Shin. And during the war, when they have to go up against each other and Shin starts to disappear, here Sai's heartbroken. For the first time in years, he has tears pouring down his face. It's because he's finally expressing himself. And Naruto and Shin, in a sense, had a good amount to do with that. Like I said, honorable mention because we don't get that much about it, but I did notice the bond that the two had, and that in one case Shin was the one who closed Sai off, he was also the person who brought him back in a roundabout way.
Yeah, I guess the second time watching his brother die allowed him to refeel his emotions again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, a little more. The root is always something that's been kind of interesting to me, and it wasn't really fulfilled in some cases. But Sai's aspect of it was always something I appreciated.
Yeah, I there's so many things with the Naruto universe that feel like, oh, that could make a good, even if it's like a 13 episode anime that tells this part of the story.
I remember we did a video about side characters we'd like to get their own anime, movie, OVA, or whatever. I'm down for a sequel if you are at some point.
I could do one just with Naruto characters, so yes.
We did that before, and I can too. But we got really obscure with some of those picks.
But I have to go back and watch that then because I don't remember. I remember doing one where it was all the anime together, but I don't remember one just Naruto. But
yeah, we can do one, the other, both, neither. Either way, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm down to do that one again.
Yeah, but Sai and Shin, we didn't get the most out of them, but Sai's brother was definitely instrumental in his growth.
Yeah, I'll co-sign. All right. So my final one, right? We're not on it.
Yes, final one.
All right. So this is the one of the ones that I didn't know if you would have, but since you've already done your Yu-Gi-Oh one, I guess I'm clear to do this one. Serenity and Joey from the original Yu-Gi-Oh.
100% agree.
Yeah. So I mean, the entire first arc with in the Duelist Kingdom is all about Joey wanting to win the tournament, not for himself, but for his sister. He doesn't really necessarily feel that he has to prove himself as the ultimate duelist at this point. He knows that he's not the greatest duelist right now. He's still kind of learning the game. He's there to support Yugi and his quest to become that, but he's big focus is on winning the tournament just to get the prize money to save his sister's sight. I don't know if that changes in the manga or not, but I know in the 4Kids dub that we watched as a kid, it was she's going blind, and this is to save her sight and be able to spend time with her. And you feel bad because you get flashbacks later on in their relationship in the when she's in the hospital, or was it in Duelist Kingdom where they do the flashback where he takes her to the beach and then they get separated?
Yes.
Yeah, that, and you feel that because you watch Joey run after the car as his sister gets taken away by the mom, the dad. We don't know because they never really say which one's living with which parent.
I think it was revealed that Joey was living with his mom. I actually no. I think. Hold on. Give me a second.
Okay, well he's doing that. But yeah, but you feel it's reciprocated because the first thing Serenity does after recovering from her eye surgery is jump in the water to swim down and save her brother who's being dragged to the bottom of the ocean by an anchor. It's like, while it's a bit of an extreme thing to have someone who just went through surgery do that, it still shows how much she cares. She's willing to put herself in danger to save her older brother because of their relationship. And without hesitation, she rips off the bandage and jumps in the water. There's no end or wait for that.
Okay, I found it. Serenity was raised by their mother, and Joey was raised by their father.
From Brooklyn, yes.
Sure, okay. Hey, but in all seriousness, I do just love how sweet this dynamic heck is. Like, you can tell just how close they are and the endless faith Serenity has in Joey, and she's always thinking about him, which makes when he wakes up from his duel with Marik all the more like heartwarming. I mean, how she's openly crying over it, and then Duke starts crying, and then Tristan starts crying, and then I start crying. You get the point.
Yeah, and I do love that how much of an older brother Joey really is, because it's like, y'all may be my best friends, but none of you could date my sister.
Yeah, yeah. Hilariously enough, when it comes to that, in the video games, she's always asking the player, she's always asking you, please take care of Joey. So it's kind of hilarious to think, his sister seems more interested in the player character than either one of you, but Joey probably still saying no.
Yeah, but no, it just how annoyed he gets when like Tristan and Duke usually are the ones that kind of flirt with her a little bit, and he's like, nope, you're not doing this anymore.
Yeah. Though to be fair, can you blame him at times?
No, and he kind of can tell that like Tristan might actually have some feelings, because you see that in like the Digital World arc, I think is the one where he sacrifices himself kind of to save Serenity from having her body stolen. But Duke is just like, okay, Duke's just a playboy. He's just doing this and he's doing it more to make fun of Joey because he knows that it annoys him.
Yeah. Though to be fair, they could also be a symbol of Tristan's never dying friendship for Joey, that he's like, if something happens to Serenity and Joey's not around, Joey would never forgive himself. But that's just another way of interpreting it. I don't know.
Yeah, true. So, but and again, and Tristan also plays it more for like, I'm just doing this to have a little fun, and it's nice to have Serenity listen to all these different people tell her about Joey's duels throughout the Battle City tournament.
Like I say, I still love her and Mai's relationship. I think it's the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, I could see them being good sisters-in-law in the future.
Yeah, possibly, but well, I can't agree. I've grown to really appreciate Serenity more as I got older. Is she more of a plot device? Sure, but that's not always a bad thing. Her relationship with Joey was too sweet for me to hate her.
Exactly. So your last one?
All right, my last pair of best or my favorite siblings in the anime, the Thompson sisters, Liz and Patty from Soul Eater.
I can co-sign.
I love how ridiculous these two could be at times, because you know that Liz has to be the grown-up between the two of them. She has to try to be the mature one and look after Patty, while Patty is I don't really know how to describe Patty other than insane teenager. But you can also pay attention at times, and you can see that the two do find ways of being silly together, teasing kid, making fun of other classmates, going crazy at times. But there's also a bit of sadness to the two of them, that they've always been there for each other with how horrible their lives were. Their mother ran out on them. They never knew their father. And especially in Soul Eater Not, and I'll talk more about this episode another day, but you just see that they've always been there for each other, and it's never been easy. And it all gets all the more heartbreaking when you watch the prequel series. At the same time, though, they do look after each other. They're always seen together, which is super sweet. And there are even times in the manga where Liz will be terrified and Patty will snap around and be like, "What are you doing? Why are you being such a coward?" And when Liz opens up and says, "I'm legitimately nervous because of whatever the reason," Patty will be the mature one and kind of flip it and be like, "Hey, I get you, but I have your back. We can do this." I don't know. They really work as sisters for me, and they're both just so likable.
Yeah, I just like their relationship when it comes to um, Liz being the, how to put it? I guess what's the term? It's the comedy thing where the one person's this straight face and the other's
Liz has to be the straight man.
Yeah, the straight man and the goofball, pretty much.
You could even tell in their souls, because if you look at their souls, Liz's soul looks normal and Patty's soul is always smiling, which, yeah, I just feel, especially, look, I've talked about Patty and I've talked about how deep down I'm not 100% sure what it is, what makes me like her, but I don't know. I've grown to appreciate Liz a lot more over the years.
Yeah, she serves as like this kind of trying to be she's the insane one that is trying to be normal of her kind of group of people.
Yeah, it doesn't always work out though because she's scared of ghosts. In this universe, how are you scared of ghosts when people like Medusa are running around? But hey, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. She's especially because their whole thing is that they have to eat souls, which I would assume are a type of ghost. So she has to eat what she's afraid of.
Oh, don't tell her that. She'll never recover from it.
Maybe she'll start thinking of them and just start trying to eat them. I could just see her and Patty running around chasing like an actual ghost trying to eat it. Just how crazy they get.
Yeah, I can see that, but I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I always like them. I like when we did with our Soul Eater characters. I'd like to think that in some cases I'd be cool with them in a way.
Yeah, I have a feeling like they'd be the ones you would go talk to, and we were having our fight if we were based on our characters.
Yeah, probably. I'm not gonna get into. I'm not gonna get more into it than that because you guys can watch the video yourself, and I want to talk about what we talked about in that video.
All right, but as I said, I'll co-sign. Liz and Patty are really a good set of siblings. They do seem to really care for each other and kind of adopt Kid as another sibling in their relationship with him as their miser.
Oh, great. Oh, well, you just ruined the Kid, Liz, Patty ship or whatever the hell it's supposed to call it for some of our fans, so congratulations. But yeah.
Are you ready to wrap up?
Yeah, just to close out, Liz and Patty, they're awesome siblings. I like them.
100% agree.
All right, so ladies, gentlemen, anyone who identifies differently, who are some of your favorite siblings in anime? Blood related, not blood related? Didn't start off great, but they turned out awesome? Let us know.
Yeah, and do you disagree with any of them on our list? I can't imagine. I think we picked some really good ones, but if you do disagree, let us know why you don't like someone's relationship with siblings.
Yeah, and and don't worry, at some point we're probably gonna do worse siblings, and we won't be smiling through that much of that video because I'll just be sad.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know a couple that'll be on your list already.
Yeah. But anyways, just let us know. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Go listen to some of our other episodes. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. We'll see you next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to the Anime Egotists. Good night and peace easy.